Well, we got a new meeting that's coming, and it's 18, 18, 18, and 18-game season. And then the other thing we got coming with news, I can't believe they're actually going to do this one. This is where I'm like,
what?
Australia.
Well, they'll do it the first Friday night of the season like they did
You think
Brazil.
it'll be that way?
Yeah, and then you have you play the next Sunday, or maybe even they give one of the teams until Monday.
That's a big ask.
Oh, yeah. That's a long flight.
That's a long flight. That's a 16-hour time difference. It's they're going to be playing on a different day when we're watching them. As I told you before, the things I worry about there a little bit is it does become a competitive or, a disadvantage, whatever you want to talk about there. It does. I know I brought up like the Tokyo trip that I had my rookie year. And I really can't underestimate or overestimate the significance.
Overstate.
Yeah, overstate the significance.
We got that.
Our team was in a zombie-like way for about 10 to 12 days after that trip. To flip around and go to Tokyo, which took 20 hours on a flight, only be there for 2.5 days, and then fly back. The internal clocks of our team, we would have guys that come into practice and go, I didn't sleep last night. I was up the whole night. Like at 3 a.m, it was like it was the middle of the day. And we had a lot of issues like that across the team and roster. And that's where this will be an interesting experiment for the NFL.
When the news broke over the weekend of Australia hosting a game in 2026, the Sun Herald or Herald Sun Herald's in Biloxi. The Herald Sun in Melbourne reported it was going to be Eagles-Rams. The problem is Eagles-Rams in 2026 is on the schedule as an Eagles home game. The Eagles have already given up a home game to an international game, and it was clear that wasn't going to happen. So Rams are the home game, and I'm looking at the teams they will be hosting because I'm thinking if this is going to work, it needs to be another team from that time zone. And they are due to host the Chargers from their own stadium that year. It would make sense that whoever gets, because you can't drag a team from the Eastern time zone all the way to Australia and then bring them back. So whether it's a team from the division, I think they typically don't like to take divisional games to other countries.
I know.
You're taking away that added advantage of forcing your opponent to come to your stadium. Not that it matters for the Rams because it's like a home game for the 49ers anyway.
Right.
But I think it's got to be a West Coast team. It's got to be the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Chargers. You could maybe. I don't think the Raiders are on the schedule.
I don't think the Chargers,
Raiders are
the
not
Battle of L.A.,
I
don't think they're going to take that out of L.A. and move it to Australia.
It's once every 4 years.
I know. That's why I would think that's not. You'd want to do that or leave that game there. I'm with you on the West Coast thing. To me, it feels like two teams, and one of them is not on the West Coast. It certainly feels like Rams hosting 49ers, or I think it's going to be Rams hosting Chiefs. I mean, I don't know if they would do that, though. If the Chiefs win
they do host the Chiefs
That's
that
right.
year.
That feels like it. But if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, will that upset that formula?
Remember, it's 26. No, it's
26,
already set.
I'm thinking, my bad.
It's already set.
Right,
That's
my
a
bad.
year that the Rams play all four teams from the AFC West.
Yeah.
And they already know the location. There's just one variable.
It's got Chiefs written all over
There's two variables left in the 2026 schedule, a home game against an NFC North team and a road game against an NFC South team. So, regardless, the Rams will be one of the teams. I think it's only fair for a West Coast team to be the opponent, so you minimize the burden. But still, like you said, they're going to be in a funk for some period of time after that.
Right.
18-game season, it lost a little of the steam yesterday. I think the two sides are beginning to view it more strategically. Lloyd Howell, the NFLPA executive director, went from saying last June, who doesn't want more football, myself included. Now he's saying nobody wants more football. And none of the players I've talked to the last 2 years want more football. It's like, wait a minute, just last year you said who doesn't want more football. They're starting to realize you're not going to get the best possible deal if you don't say no. Even if you ultimately do it, for now you got to say no. And the NFL is saying, well, it's not really a priority. We're going to wait until we negotiate a new CBA. They can negotiate a new CBA anytime they want. The league, I believe, from what I've heard from multiple different people, they want to get a deal this year. Maybe they won't. Both sides have to be ready to do a deal, but they can do a deal anytime they want. There just has to be a spark for it, and it may be that this thing plays out. There will be 18 games someday. The question is, does it happen before the current CBA expires, after the 2030 season, or does it expire and then the owners lock them out until they cry uncle and agree to 18 games? Because that's what will happen. They'll lock them out until they agree to 18 games, and they'll eventually say, okay, go ahead and play 18 games.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, we've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years now. I think we all felt like this was coming here, especially when it got to 17 and then went to 8. You know, the next thing was, well, they're going to try to get to 18. But the players got to hold their ground because you can't just give them 18. It is a lot. There's a lot of things that can go negative with the players with these extra 2 games we're trying to add on.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.